Did you know that more than 60% of men in long-term relationships report having been emotionally manipulated, cheated on, or abandoned at their most vulnerable? That's not just a statistic. It's a silent epidemic, one no one's talking about. Welcome to the harsh reality most men live in, but never speak about. You're not weak for being loyal. You're not a fool for loving deeply. But if you don't learn the rules of the game, you will get played again and again and again. Welcome to the channel that exposes what others won't say out loud. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now and join a brotherhood of thinkers, warriors, and truth seekers. Because today we're cracking open the vault on a brutal truth. Why most men get played, and how to make damn sure you're never the victim again. Let's begin where most stories of betrayal do. Not in chaos, but in peace, in love, in trust. Imagine a man. Call him Marcus. He's 32. Stable job, loyal heart, treats his partner with respect. He's the kind of man society says is a catch. But Marcus is about to lose everything. His savings, his sense of identity, and the love he thought would last forever. And it starts with one moment. A message on his girlfriend's phone. A message not meant for him. One filled with emojis and secrets. He confronts her, heart pounding. She cries, says it was nothing. Gaslights him into believing he's paranoid. He apologizes. She cheats again. Marcus isn't weak. He's just untrained. This story isn't unique. In fact, it's everywhere. It's your friend who gave his all and got ghosted. It's your brother who raised kids that weren't biologically his. It's the quiet guy at work who went through a divorce and never recovered. Men are being emotionally eviscerated, not because they're bad men, but because they were never taught the battlefield exists. Let's go deeper. Throughout history, men have been trained to protect, to provide, to be the shield. But what happens when you become the shield for someone who is stabbing you from behind? Ancient warriors were trained in the art of war. They didn't walk into battle with blind trust. They trained every day to detect betrayal, ambushes, manipulation. Today, most modern men don't even realize they're on the battlefield until it's too late. Here's the brutal truth. Many women have been socially trained in emotional strategy from a young age. Society encourages them to assess value, test boundaries, and navigate relationships with tactical precision. Meanwhile, boys are told, just be nice, be yourself, love unconditionally. The result? One gender comes prepared to play chess. The other comes with a coloring book. Now don't misunderstand. This isn't about hate. This isn't about blaming women. This is about awareness, power, strength. Because once you see the game, you can decide how to play it, or whether you want to play at all. So how do men get played? It doesn't usually begin with sex. It begins with admiration. You're seen, you're praised, you're called different. That feeling, it's addictive. Your walls drop. You give more. You provide. You help. You open up. And somewhere along the line, your value shifts. You go from a mystery to a servant, from a prize to an option. And when that shift happens, you've already lost control. Here's something they don't teach in school. The moment you chase validation, you've surrendered leadership. And without leadership, you're at the mercy of someone else's emotions, desires, and whims. Think of Odysseus, the cunning Greek warrior in Homer's Odyssey. He didn't just use muscle. He used foresight, strategy. When he faced Circe, the enchantress who turned men into animals, he didn't charge in blindly. He consulted the gods, understood the trap, outsmarted her. The message? Not all dangers wear armor. Some wear perfume and whisper love. Now let's fast forward to today. Dating apps have turned human connection into fast food. Swiping left and right has trained us to see people as replaceable. And the average man, especially one with a good heart, walks into this system thinking love is sacred. But he's stepping into a casino. The house always wins unless you know the game. That game rewards detachment, abundance, and self-respect. Not neediness, overinvestment, and desperation. But this isn't a call for bitterness. This is a call for evolution. Let's talk about the quiet killer, nice guy syndrome. You've heard it before. The nice guy who says yes to everything. who puts her happiness first, who suppresses his boundaries to avoid conflict. Society told him this would make him a king, but it made him invisible, because respect isn't given for compliance. It's earned through presence, direction, and unapologetic purpose. Women don't fall for men who bend. They fall for men who stand for something, for themselves, for their mission, for a code. And that code starts with self-respect. So how do you break the cycle? Not with rage, not with revenge, but with clarity. You stop hoping someone else will give your life meaning. You start building it yourself. You work your body, mind, and spirit into something you admire. And from that place you attract, not because you need, but because you choose. And here's where most men never get to. They never realize that being played isn't about her. It's about you, your blind spots, your lack of standards, your addiction to being needed, your silence when your instincts were screaming. But this can change. And it changes the moment you decide to stop being the hunted and start becoming the hunter. Not in a predatory sense, but in a focused, directed, and sovereign sense. Because the world doesn't pity passive men. It respects warriors, and warriors don't beg for love. They command it by becoming the kind of man who cannot be replaced. But how? What are the actual moves, the psychological shifts, the strategies that guarantee you never become a victim again? That's what we'll reveal next. Now that we've peeled back the illusion and exposed the battlefield, it's time to forge the weapons. Because surviving isn't enough. You came here to win. And to win, you need a mindset that can't be manipulated, a presence that commands respect, and a standard so high, even your old self wouldn't qualify. First, let's redefine your worth. Not by what you give to others, but by what you build within yourself. A man who is emotionally sovereign, who doesn't rely on outside validation for his identity, is nearly impossible to control. Why? Because manipulation thrives on insecurity. It feeds on the need to be accepted, to be loved, to be chosen. But when a man becomes the chooser, everything shifts. Remember, attention is not affection. Compliments are not commitment. And promises are not proof. Don't confuse being wanted with being respected. Real masculinity is measured not by how many women chase you, but by how firmly you can walk away from what doesn't serve you. Take a hard look at the men who never get played. They're not the richest or the most attractive. They're the ones with standards, boundaries, a spine, the kind of men who can say no without flinching, who can walk away without looking back, and who don't need chaos to feel alive. These men understand one truth. You only get played when you ignore your own intuition. Think about that time you felt something was off. She pulled away, got distant, started hiding her phone, but you told yourself, don't be insecure. You didn't want to seem jealous. You wanted to be chill, but your gut knew. It always knows. Masculine energy is deeply intuitive, but modern society has trained it out of you. They taught you to doubt your instincts. They shamed your suspicions. And so you stayed until the betrayal was undeniable. That ends now. From this moment forward, you give your instincts the respect they deserve. You don't ignore patterns. You don't explain away red flags. You act calmly, confidently, with zero drama. Because the man who knows his worth doesn't need proof. He needs peace. Let's take it deeper. You want to be unplayable? You need to become what she can't manipulate. A man with mission, purpose, structure. You wake up with goals. You move through life with intention. You don't make her the center of your universe, because your universe is too vast to revolve around anyone else. That doesn't mean you can't love. But your love is not for the faint of heart. It is earned, not granted on credit. And here's the twist that will shock most men watching this right now. The less emotionally needy you are, the more women respect you. That's not toxic, that's truth. Emotional independence isn't coldness, it's strength. It says, I want you, but I don't need you. My soul was whole before you arrived, and it will remain whole if you leave. Think of men like Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor of Rome. He ruled an empire, faced betrayal, war, death, And yet his greatest discipline was the mastery of self. He didn't lash out when wounded. He didn't crumble when abandoned. He wrote, reflected, and grew stronger. That is masculine power, controlled, centered, unshakable. But let's be honest, it's not easy. Especially when you've been wounded. When you gave love and got lies. When you trusted and got torn apart. Healing from that doesn't come from getting back out there. It comes from getting back into yourself, rebuilding the man inside who allowed the betrayal to happen, and upgrading him into someone who would never let it happen again. It starts with boundaries, not the kind you scream, the kind you live. You don't tolerate disrespect, ever, not once. The first lie, you call it out. The first game, you walk away. Not because you're petty, but because your peace costs too much to bargain with. Next comes your circle. Look around. Who are your friends? Are they building you up or dragging you down? Are they helping you grow or encouraging your weakness? Iron sharpens iron, and if you surround yourself with people who tolerate being played, you'll think it's normal, but it's not. And finally, never forget this. A woman can't break a man who knows who he is. She can leave. She can lie. She can try to shake your foundation. But if your identity isn't tied to her affection, you stay rooted, solid. And while she may walk away with temporary power, you walk away with permanent freedom. In the end, this is not about women. It's about reclaiming your mind, your focus, your life. Because once you stop getting played in relationships, you stop getting played everywhere, in business, in friendships, in your own habits. You begin to move with clarity, speak with power, choose with confidence. You become the man no one dares to manipulate, because they can feel you're awake. And for every Marcus who once gave everything and got nothing back, know this: you were not broken, you were forged. Every scar was a lesson, every heartbreak a recalibration. And now you're no longer a victim of the game, you are the game changer. So here's your final mission. Drop a comment below if this woke something up in you. If you've been played, tell us what you learned. And if you've broken free, help the next brother rise. Share this video with every man who's been betrayed, because silence helps no one. This isn't just content, it's a movement. You've seen the truth. Now live it, and remember, stay sharp, stay strong, stay sovereign. We'll see you in the next one.